So this is just a little video we put together of our trip going to the Grand Canyon. We flew out of our home state of Michigan on September 15th into Las Vegas, and then we drove over to the Tucson. We stayed at the Red Feather Lodge. It's where we're at now. It's actually a really nice place. Drove in there on the 16th, went out and did a little scouting of the Grand Canyon that afternoon.
Smart.
Kind of figure out where the shuttle was going to pick us up. But we had planned that we were going to do a down to Phantom Ranch and up. We went down the South Cavite Trail, down to Phantom Ranch, come up the Bright Angel Trail to the top, all in one day. It's an 18.5-mile hike. Kind of a tough hike, is what we've been told. We had watched videos like this in advance, so we did do some training in advance. We had done bleacher training. We had ran up the bleachers in our hometown high school football stadium. We ran up the bleachers, down the bleachers. We started at like 30 minutes each time we did. We did like 2 or 3 times a week. The first week we started at 30 minutes. We eventually increased 15 minutes every week till I think the longest we did at one time was like an hour and a half, but we didn't make it up to an hour and a half one time. We did some long walks. In Michigan, it's flatland, so we just did some long walks for endurance. Longest one we did was about
12 miles.
12 miles. That was about 4 days before we left. And we did mix in some runs. I mixed in some incline training on the treadmill. Every free chance we got, we tried to just go for a walk or something. We tried to do something every day, whether it was 3, 4, or 5 mile walk.
Most of the time we would put the baby in the backpack. So she weighs about 17 pounds, which was pretty accurate for what we were packing.
So we did our training. We felt we were ready physically coming out. And the only thing we said we couldn't really train for is we couldn't really train for the heat. With the first week or two of our training in Michigan, we had some upper 80s, low 90s, and humidity, so it was kind of good then. But then the last 3 weeks or so, it was pretty cool in Michigan, so we couldn't train for the heat. So that was the only thing we didn't know if we could really train for. Something we had never really heard of. Somebody had mentioned it to us off the cuff before we came out, but in all our research we done, nothing never mentioned to train for was. It's something you really can't train for is elevation. The elevation out here is higher, so it's kind of tough to breathe when you're exerting energy. So it's kind of tough to train for that. I have seen, and looking at it afterwards, they say if you run in humid weather or something, it will help. So we did our training, and then we had done some research on videos and everything else on what to bring. So I'll let Robin go through what we brought. This is my wife, Robin, by the way, if you're watching this video and you don't know us.
Well, we started out by getting packs that have the bladder in them. So this is really helpful. Carrying a water bottle, great, but you're going to need more than just one bottle of water. So this right on your pack is so helpful because literally every 10 minutes I was taking a sip and it was more like a guzzle. But this held quite a bit of stuff. So the necessities that we did, I had a lot of trouble with my feet when we were training. So the foot glide was very helpful. It actually helped. I didn't get a single blister in the entire 19-mile trek. So I put this on, put the socks on, and it just allowed the sock to kind of slip on my foot. And then of course the body glide, same idea, but any place on your body that you might get chafing or anything like that. They made a very good point on one of the videos we watched to make sure you bring some Motrin. And the minute you start feeling a little ache or pain, take Motrin, and it actually really did help with his knee and with my legs. Mole tape. So if you do get a blister starting, I actually brought extra pair of socks. I think you did too. So extra pair of clean socks. So when we got down to Phantom Ranch, we did some foot repair. So we got clean socks on. And anything that was a blister, we started by putting that on there and putting a little extra foot glide. I did bring some Band-Aids just in case one of us took a fall. Didn't actually need to use it. And then the one thing that I thought might be helpful, just in case, toenail clippers, you never know. So they were lightweight, so I figured we could get away with bringing them if we needed them. The much needed sunscreen. We wore sun hats, so that really helped our face, but by the time you're in the middle of the canyon, you still get it on your neck, you get it on your arms, and we made it out without a sunburn. But there's no hand washing except for one bathroom by Phantom Ranch as you're coming back up the Bright Angel Trail that actually had flushing toilets, not outhouses, and they actually had soap and running water and hand dryers. So, but otherwise, hand sanitizer and wipes is very helpful, because when you're starting to eat your munchies and you got sandy dirt hands, not cool. As far as our munchies, they say make sure you eat what you're going to eat before when you're training, because if you don't like it and you don't know, it's not a great thing to have in your pack, so why bother? So Joe liked the meat sticks and beef jerky. The good thing they say about stuff like this is they want you to eat at least 300 calories every hour.
Yeah, something like that.
But they want you to eat really salty, fatty foods, which anybody that's on a diet, overlook that, because the minute you're in the heat, you're sweating it out. So the more salt you replenish your body with, the better. So hence the munchie mix, which is Sun Chips, Cheetos, pretzels, and then I threw in some peanut butter filled pretzels, which are my favorite, and I ate them the entire time that we were training. Here's a tip though, it's so dry out here that the minute I put a peanut butter pretzel in my mouth, the whole thing just dried up and stuck to everything inside my mouth. Normally you would eat 10 of them for your 100 calorie serving. I ate 4 and barely got them down. Had to wash them down with my applesauce. So I will say, these might seem funny, but when you're tired, you're exhausted, and you can barely breathe, and everything just kind of sticks to your mouth, this was a lifesaver. These little pudding things that don't have to be refrigerated, they're almond blend pudding, little in the applesauce section. Really great for just rinsing things down. This is probably my favorite. We used goo, which we use these when we run our 5Ks, but 100 calories. And the cool thing is they have caffeine in them, so you can have them bright and early in the morning, because we started at 4 a.m. getting ready for the shuttle. So, and then we used Cliff Blocks energy chews. So these are basically like Gatorade in a chewy form. So they're 3 blocks for 100 calories, and they have, you know, the sodium and everything that you need to basically replenish all the sweat that you're letting out. And then each of us had 1 bottle of water that we would put Gatorade pouches in, so you drink your electrolytes as well as water. They say if you just drink water, you want to level it out with a bunch of salty foods, but if you can't eat salty foods because you're exerting too much energy, it's good to have your Gatorade. And I can attest to that because I was exhausted. So, yeah.
All right, so with that, we're going to take you into some footage of our hike. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll meet you here afterwards, and we'll discuss the actual hike in detail and some of the findings we found on it, what helped, what didn't. So we hope you enjoy our hike.
Thanks.
It is 4:00 a.m. We were up at 3 a.m. this morning. We were up a half hour before our alarm at 3:30 a.m.
Morning.
We are all packed. We're going to be leaving here in a few minutes to catch the shuttle, so we get there early and make sure we're prepared, not miss it,
Get my feet.
not go overbooked. She's putting the foot glide on her feet to prevent blisters. We'll see how that works out. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Yeah, it's like you're in the...
All right, it's like, I think we're close to 5:30, and we are heading on the trail, getting ready to start. We just got off the bus, filled our water. We're walking on the paved trail, getting ready to head down to South Kaibab.
Oh, sorry, I can't see me.
Robin's the one blinding you. Now it just got dark.
Hi.
All right. Warning us that we could throw up. That's optimism at its best. 6 o'clock. We are at Point. This is the overlook at Point.
Is your screen correctly? Hey.
We're at Cedar Ridge. Had the first restroom. Just use the restroom. Here's the overlook from Cedar Ridge. And we're going down there. We're in between Cedar Ridge and Cedar Point, kind of where we take a walk over a ridge.
You want me to take it?
We are at Skeleton Point. There's Robin. I think she's surviving. Are you surviving?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's been a lot of downhill. I think we're between 3.5 and 4 miles down. And if you look back, we came from way up there. Pretty awesome. And we got about 4 miles to go before we can have lunch and lemonade.
So we're at Skeleton Point. Trail goes that way. There's down into the canyon.
Into the switchbacks.
So here we keep trekking. All right, we literally made it probably only 50, 100 feet past Skeleton Point, and there's our first view of the Colorado River.
You can see our switchbacks down
there. We're going to be going down those switchbacks. There is the first view of the Colorado River. Just look at that view. Wow. So we just passed Tip-Off Point a little while ago. This is the third time we've seen the river winding around, but there's the river. We got less than 2 miles to get to the Black Bridge. And what time is it?
It is 7:56.
So we've been hiking about 4.5, 5 miles, what it said, and it's been about 2.5 hours of hiking, so not doing too bad.
We're ready for lunch.
All right.
8 o'clock in the morning. This is for you, Ren!
If you didn't catch that, she said this is for you, Ren.
Woo! Oh,
So we're going through the tunnel.
Oh my goodness!
And the tunnel comes straight out to the bridge.
Awesome. Yay, we're almost there!
Come out to the bridge.
Okay, Christina, grab my pole.
There's the water. There's the river.
You sure?
There's the river. There's the other bridge, if you see it over there. That will be going on the way out. So,
What?
we came down that monster. And
Can't even see the
the
jump.
good news is that we have to go up it. But first, we're going to go to the Phantom Ranch and have an awesome lemonade.
Yay!
So we're walking along the river and the little creek edge, and
Careful.
there
Deer.
is some deer. So it's just after 9:30. We're leaving Phantom Ranch. We got to Phantom Ranch at 9 a.m. So I think we say it's like 8 miles down or something, whatever that is down. We did it in 3.5 hours. So not bad. She's waving back there. So we had our lemonade. It really is as good as they say. Granted, like they say, it's also probably just like a Minute Maid lemonade, but after walking down, it's the best lemonade you'll ever have in your life. Mailed our postcards out to the girls.
Yay!
Changed our socks. Took a leave because we're old.
Grandparents.
I'm feeling actually really well. Not that sore at all. And was a little bit tired before we got to Phantom Ranch. Robin, how are you feeling?
I'm kind of tired. My
Why?
leg's going down, took a beating. So I'm a little tired, but I think having lunch and some Aleve is good. So I'm ready to Gatorade and out.
So with that, we're on our way. We'll check back in a few times on our way up. See ya. So here is the Silver Bridge that we have to cross to go back across the river. And all the training that me and Robin did, that's what we trained for. We have to go up that. No problem. Should be about a half hour or so, I would imagine. It's only 10.5 miles. Actually, no, we've already done a mile for Phantom Ranch, so it's only like 9.5. We got this.
We got this.
All right. Take it with me for the first part of the bridge, and then we'll click off. Oh, sorry, we had Robin's butt in there. There's the river. The mighty Colorado River. You can see, look down, look at the river through the grates. We stopped at River Rest House. Got a little lizard friend here to greet us. So we are not quite yet to Indian Gardens. We're in what they call the Devil's Corkscrew. They named it correctly. This is tough. Robin's really dying.
Dying.
I'm making it. It's tough, but I'm making it. Robin's dying. We're in a little shady spot right now. We gotta be close to Indian Gardens where we can stop and refresh our batteries. All right, we'll talk to you later. So we're still not at Indian Gardens, but we're close because we've hit the vegetation for the aptly named Indian Gardens because there's a spring here. You can see the spring running down the trail, but it's nice and vegetated here. Still gotta go up. It is tough. Still on our way to Indian Gardens, but there's a nice little waterfall on the way. So it's 10 to 1. We probably got here 10-15 minutes ago. This is Indian Gardens. We did arrive here, use the bathroom, hit the stream, hit some food and fluids. Now we're getting ready to head up. We got 4.5 miles to go. And like I said, it's 10 to 1. Every mile and a half we gotta stop. So we made it and we continue on. We have to go up there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, fun.
It was kind of nice sitting in there.
All right, we are just leaving the 3-mile rest house. It's like 3 o'clock right now. I think, or no, what time is it?
2:10.
2:10, 2 o'clock, 2:10.
2 o'clock.
We got there at 1:50, so it took us an hour to walk that last mile and a half, which is pretty good. We came down those switchbacks, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, we did that mile and a half an hour. They say average on this going up is an hour a mile, so we are ahead of that pace.
That makes me excited.
Even though
ride on the trail.
Even though Robin's moving in slow motion, we are still ahead of average person pace.
Apparently I'm not as tortoise as
So
I thought.
now we head up there. Oh yeah. All right, we just left the 1.5 mile rest house, which is, there's a restaurant and the rest house is around the bend. Robin's filling up her water. It's 3:20 right now. We got there before 3:10, so we did that last mile and a half in under an hour. We went up 900 feet in that mile and a half. We got a mile and a half left. It has 1,120 feet up to go. We just need to get up there, and then we are done. We have conquered it. Should be done in about another hour, or maybe just a little over. So it's 3:20 now, so we'll be done around 4:30, which is actually 11 hours from when we started, which is actually really good from what you see on other people doing it. There's Robin. She did good the last mile and a half. She's getting stronger as she goes.
I feel better as I go. I honestly do. So thank you for waiting while I filled my water.
Lower tunnel means we've done a half mile since our last stop. We got a mile to go. Means I got a mile to my Coke or Pepsi. Oh yeah. I think we're like a little over a half mile from the top. Here's the coming up on the view here. Here's the view there. See those trails down there? That's where we were coming from. We haven't thrown up yet, so we did better than that guy. There's the tunnel. Second tunnel is right up there. Means we're getting close. There's the top of the canyon. We're so there close. How you feeling, Robin?
I am ready to be done. Feels good.
Oh, I can't wait for my Pepsi or Coke.
Ice cream.
So, do not enter. Dangerous overlook. There's a tunnel. There's a tunnel. And there's the top. You see people sitting at the top. Okay, get to the top. Now Robin's showing off and she's running. As outlasting her most of the trail. I went behind because I've been doing some videoing. She had to keep stopping for breaks. But yeah, now she thinks she's gonna run. Children. Here's the top. Here's the top. Here's the top. Here we are. Here we are.
We started at 5:34.
There we are.
So we did it in under 11 hours.
So there's the trailhead. We did finish, looked at the clock, looks like we finished around 10 after 4. So it means we did the entire hike, 18.5 miles from South Kaibab Trail down to the Phantom Ranch and back up on the Bright Angel in 10 hours and 40 minutes. Which, when we were watching videos prepping, they were saying usually between 11 and 14 hours. So us old people did it pretty good for being senior saint grandparents, as we were called at church last week. Apparently, because your grandparents were senior saints, even though we're only 41. We did it in good time. It'll be another week until I try that again.
that phone.
So the day after our hike, way over there, that's the trail that went to the Phantom Ranch where we stopped at for a lemonade. And down there is the river and the Bright Angel Trail where we came up into Indian Gardens. Then we went up through there.
Behind that ridge.
We went up in between that trail you see there. We went in front of that trail. That's a separate trail. And we came all the way up.
Up.
All the way up.
Up. We survived.
And that's just the overall view of it. Amazing.
Gorgeous.
So we just show you where we ended. That's actually where we started, is top there. That little set of blocks right there, that's Ua Point, our first stop. Then we went down, and that flat landing right there, that was Cedar Ridge, the restroom. And then we went down from there where we can't see behind this big rock, but that is where we started.
That's a lot.
Alright, so now you've seen the footage of our hike. We'll discuss a little bit of the trail and everything. So basically we got up, the first Hikers Express shuttle leaves Bright Angel Lodge at 5 a.m. in September when we went. So we were actually up early. We woke up before our alarms. We are from Michigan, so, 3 hours behind out here. It wasn't a big deal for us to get up at that time. It's kind of like a normal time for us. So we got to the hiker shuttle. They said, we've heard to be there like a half hour early, make sure you get a spot. So we got there at 4:30. Nobody showed up to the bus stop until like 4:50. So I don't know if it's just not a day, but we were all by ourselves. And finally 10 minutes before, some people showed up, and we filled all but 6 or 7 seats at the Bright Angel Lodge. Then it makes 2 other stops at the Back Country Center and then the Visitor Center. And I think we filled up all but 1 or 2 spots on the bus by the time we made up our pickups.
And one thing that was really helpful, and obviously we saw this on some other footage we watched, but one thing I didn't mention was in our packs, we started out with headlamps because there's no street lights, there's nothing while you're waiting for the shuttle. It was pitch black. There were stars and it was a beautiful sky, but this was the only way we got around. So definitely take your headlamps because you will need them for probably the first half hour to an hour of your hike too.
So it was September 17th when we did our hike. It was 42 degrees when we woke up. So it was a little chilly. We had need to have a long sleeve shirt on. So staying and waiting for the shuttle was kind of chilly, but also decided to kind of just tough it out. I had a thin long sleeve shirt on, but kind of just like toughed it out because I don't have to carry anything too bulky on the way out.
Both wearing shorts.
So we got on the shuttle at 5 a.m. We got dropped off probably around 5:20, 5:25, and we filled our water bottles at the South Kaibab trailhead. Because at 5:34 we were on the trail, starting our descent down.
Super excited.
And
lots of energy.
And then as you saw, we hit, Ua Point, and at Ua Point we were able to turn our headlamps off, and I think that's even when we took our shirts off. Was at Ua Point, which is only 0.9 miles down. So it definitely changes pretty quick.
Sunrise was about 6:15, 6:20.
Yeah. So, but the trail down was fine. You don't really exert a whole lot of energy. It is a lot of pounding. It is a lot of steps that are steep, boulders, everything else. So it is a little bit of pounding, especially once you get past between Skeleton Point and Top Off Point. It is a very steep area with lots of switchbacks. And so that section of trail is pretty rough to get through. So there's a little bit of pounding on your legs. Going down, my right knee was kind of bothering me. I could feel it whenever I led, I think, of that step or whatever, is really bothering me. So I kind of was switching up how I took my steps, which eventually I think hurt me in the long run, because by the time we finished, my left knee was killing me coming up the trail. I took some leave and was putting biofreeze on the trail. It's one thing we didn't put, but we took biofreeze on, so every few stops I was putting that on.
It's helpful for here too, because your packs get kind of heavy.
So we made it down. By the time you get down, is like I said, it's not that you're overexert or anything, but you are starting to just feel it in your legs a little bit, so you're kind of wanting to just get down there. But other than that, the hike down was fine. We went to Phantom Ranch. We had the lemonade that everybody talks about.
Amazing.
They don't lie. It is the
So
best lemonade
good.
ever. I don't care if it is just a Minute Maid lemonade. I don't care. It's the best lemonade I've ever had.
It was around 9 o'clock?
Yeah, we got down there. We took us 3.5 hours to get down. So we got there at 9 a.m. at the Phantom Ranch.
We had lunch.
Had our lunch at 9 a.m. We had bought Subway on our way here the day before, so we packed our Subway.
Yeah.
So we had Subway down at the Phantom Ranch. We got our lemonade. They have postcards down there, so we bought a postcard to send to our daughters. You can mail it right from there. It has stamped right on it that is sent by mule out of the Phantom Ranch.
I will recommend that if you bring any of the munchies and the pretzels and sandwiches, to eat them then, because the time you hike back out is not the time you're going to want to eat big substantial things. You're going to want to snack things that aren't dry.
And just a tip for those of you who may have passports, we don't, but there was a girl down there eating when we were there who happened to have her passport with her because she had needed to get her TSA taken care of at the airport while she's there. So they actually have a passport stamp down at the Phantom Ranch that you can add to your passport, which is pretty cool.
They also have it at the visitor center too, but I think it was really cool that they had it down at the bottom. So we ate our lunch. We were there a half hour, which is kind of what I was hoping we'd spend there, is about a half hour. We had changed our socks and got everything taken care of, and at 9:30 we began our ascent up. And that's when they told us about the flushable toilets and the running water.
And so as you leave Phantom Ranch, you cross a small bridge. It doesn't even have a name. It's just a small bridge heading towards the Bright Angel Trail. And right on the left, there's some restrooms that have running water and everything else there. So if you want that luxury, don't use them at Phantom Ranch. If you can hold it, just wait till you walk the 1.5 miles or so it is to get to these bathrooms. It may not even be that far. So then you cross the Silver Bridge, which is the graded bridge, which is fun for those who may be scared of heights.
And I'm not afraid of heights, but I was a little nervous going across the graded bridge. I mean, not the fact that it was open, but each grate is only a section and they're kind of pinned down at each end. So when you step on this side of it, it kind of goes up. So every time you get to another section, it kind of has this little movement. Made me a little nervous. So I picked up the pace at that point because I wasn't really liking that bridge very much.
And I know I gave updates on our hiking video things as we went, but I can't remember what all I said, and we were very tired doing it. So you get to the River Rest House. First you start elevating up. You think, all right, we're elevating up, and then you go back down by the Colorado River. So that's kind of depressing when you go up and then you go down.
Go back down.
And there is quite a bit of sand on that stretch.
Yeah.
And we didn't show, but it is recommended to wear tall socks to keep the sand out. Because it is very sandy in that stretch.
Yeah, we wore
this
type socks.
They're Dear My brand.
These were actually Amazon, and I got 5 for $25, and they were probably the best purchase that we made just because the comfort, and they were cheap. They're only $25 for 5 pair, but to have this, not have to put sand in your boots and get blisters was much needed.
So we went up, you go down, then you make it to the River Rest House. It's a good spot to use the restroom or anything. And here you don't really think you need to stop because you really haven't exerted much by the time you get to River Rest House. But it is a good idea to maybe give yourself some replenishment, get a Gatorade in, because you are about to enter. I think it is. I got my map here in front of me. But I think it's like 3. I think I figured this out. It's like 3.9 miles till you get to Indian Garden from there, and you go through what they call the Devil Corkscrew, which I think I even mentioned on the video. It is a tough stretch of switchbacks, and it was in the sun for us. Like I said, we left when it was 42 degrees. The day they said that day it was going to be a high of 94 down in the bottom of the canyon, and it was like 75 at the top, so it wasn't that bad. But in the Devil's Corkscrew, in that sun, it was tough. I was starting to feel it, and I know at that point I think it's mentioned video where Robin is really, that's where she first started to struggle.
And it wasn't my legs that were struggling. I could not breathe. It was a wheeze coming from here. So I felt like we just needed to stop and take a break. And you know, the down in the Phantom Ranch, a lot of people were dunking their shirts and their hats to cool off, but we weren't really that hot down in the canyon. So, but by the time we hit that Devil's Corkscrew, there's a creek that runs through. Oh man, we were all but sitting in it just to cool off.
Yeah, if there's multiple spots where creeks cross or they'll be on the side. Definitely take advantage of that. Dip your hat, dip your shirt, whatever you can to cool off. It did help. We did that every
Rinse your face off.
We did that opportunity we could. So we made it up to Devil's Corkscrew. And then you start getting to the vegetation of Indian Garden. We had never hiked the trail before. So we see the vegetation, we thinking we're close to Indian Garden, so you're kind of just pushing yourself, thinking, I don't need to get a drink or anything, get a snack, because the rest area's got to be around the bend. That vegetation probably starts a good mile and a half before you get to Indian Garden. So you hit that vegetation.
Keep drinking your Gatorade.
Keep drinking, get a snack if you feel it, because it is a good hike into Indian Garden. But then you get to Indian Garden, there's a stream you could dip everything in, there's a rest house, there's a area to eat, rest up.
They keep mules there too, so you'll hit the mule camp first, and then the restrooms are actually upstairs.
And Indian Garden, we were probably there, I think, like 20 minutes, because it was a long hike from River Rest House to there, and going through Devil's Corkscrew, we were feeling it, and so I think we spent about 20 minutes there. And I know that's on the video. I believe I mentioned at every restaurant kind of how long we had been there. So then we went up from there.
Filled our bladders, filled our Gatorade at that point.
At that point, we refilled.
We needed, because I had drank.
And that was the first time we refilled. We made it down and up to Indian Garden without refilling our bladder at all.
And even then, I think I had a liter left. So really, I had only drank a liter and a half maybe, but a lot of Gatorade.
So then at this point we continue our trek, and then you're going to the 3 mile rest house. Once you get to Indian Garden, there's stops every mile and a half to the top. So the Indian Garden is 4.5 miles from the top. So you get to the 3 mile rest house, which is another mile and a half. That was another tough section. That was a section where Robin really struggled in that section. We had to stop a few times for her and to just let her catch her breath, get a drink, and basically just catch her breath.
Yeah, Joe was doing pretty good at this point, and I don't know if it was anxiety or just the fact the elevation was killing me. My legs weren't too terrible, but I just could not catch my breath. I would wheeze a bit. So just stopping for a minute even to drink from my bladder and get a Gatorade and maybe do a block chew or something like that, just stopping for that second. Anytime there's a patch of shade, great idea.
So then we made it to the 3 mile rest house. We stopped there, I think it was closer to 15 minutes. It was 10-15 minutes. We sat there a little bit, kind of just catching ourselves. There's a couple of different approaches. She would mix her Gatorade at a rest house and she'd drink it on the path. She'd stop and grab her bottle and drink her Gatorade. My approach was at every rest house I was going to do it, and I drink water in the middle. So every time I got to the rest house, first thing I did is I filled my water bottle, mixed my Gatorade, and I pretty much just guzzled it. The 10 to 15 minutes while we're there, the 20 ounces goes down pretty quick. So I do drink my Gatorade there, get my replenishment there.
It also helps when you eat the dry jerky.
And then I sit there and either eat jerky while we're there. I think actually at Indian Garden, I think I ate jerky, and then at the 3 mile rest house, I ate the Munchies chip mix, and then at the 1.5 mile rest house, I ate meat sticks. So I kind of mixed it up. And then, but I do say, I don't know what we talked about beforehand. We talked about the blocks. Those are absolutely, you may not like gummy things. Like I don't like gummy things, and I even tried one before we went. And I was like, oh, it's kind of gummy. I don't really care for it. But that gummy thing is absolutely amazing when you're hiking a trail. It goes down so smooth, and it's kind of like just a Gatorade shot while you're hiking. I was using mine sparingly because I didn't have that many in my pack, so I was like, I want to use them sparingly, but I ended up having some left over. But those go down really well and are really big, kind of just a boost while you're in the middle of a hike, just to grab one. They say take 3, but I would just get one here and there just to get something in there.
They come in different flavors, so we bought a pack on Amazon that had all 6 flavors, and the flavor that was probably the best And the most recommended was salted watermelon because it had 2 times the amount of sodium as the other the other flavors. But they had black cherry and strawberry, orange, fruit punch, and then salted watermelon. They were definitely top notch.
So they say coming up, most people average about a mile an hour, or they also say it's like twice. Figure coming up is going to take you twice of what it did going down. So from Indian Garden to 3 Mile Rest House, which is where we struggled, which is a mile and a half, and this is where she really struggled. It felt like we were stopping a lot, and it was only a mile and a half, and we did it in an hour.
I felt bad.
So we were actually going ahead of the average pace.
It didn't feel like it was only an hour.
So we got to the 3 Mile Rest House there, and we took our breaks. So then we headed on from there. So then we go to the mile and a half rest house, and that stretch, that was probably, it felt like the easiest stretch probably for me, and I think even for you, because we did that stretch, that mile and a half, we did it in 50 minutes.
Is that when I put my earbuds in?
Yes, that was when you
Music
put your earbuds.
seriously helped me. I can't explain it, but I didn't cry on that stretch of path, and the earbud, and just something to keep you motivated, and yeah.
So we made it to mile and a half rest house, and that stretch felt so easy. I know you're going uphill, so it's hard to say it's easy, but it felt so easy that I halfway contemplated in my head, I'm like, do we even need to stop at the mile and a half rest house here, or should we just keep going? But we stopped. We probably only stopped for like 10 minutes. I ate my meat sticks there and had my Gatorade. And at that point, like that section of the hike, like I said, didn't feel that bad, so I couldn't even finish my Gatorade. I didn't have the guzzle mentality. But we'd also walked through a lot of clouds in that section. It wasn't nearly as sunny.
Cloud cover.
By the end of the hike, we had gotten a lot of cloud cover, which helped. Because the sun was brutal when it was out, but we started getting a lot of cloud cover near the end. So we stopped at the mile and a half rest house. We had our drinks and whatever we did.
I FaceTimed with Ren at that point in time.
We stopped for 10 minutes, and then we continued up. We knew the encouraging fact was, they have charts telling you how far everything is in the elevation. So the encouraging fact was, as I had sat there, done the math, knowing that last mile and a half has the most elevation gain. So, fun times, switchback after switchback after switchback. So you get going.
There's 2 spots on that last mile and a half that are kind of, I don't know, not roadblocks, but places that you're looking for. There's 2 tunnels, so you kind of have spots to be encouraged by.
So you got a mile and a half left to the top when you say the mile and a half rest house. At 1 mile, and you make it 1/2 mile, so 1 mile left. You get to the first, what they call the lower tunnel. It's basically a
arch
this wide.
Yeah.
It's not really a tunnel, but you go through the tunnel. So you go through that, and then you continue on, and that's right after a big group of switchbacks. So then you continue on.
I stopped there.
You get to the upper tunnel, which is that's like 2 swings from the top. You're really close once you get there.
You can start seeing people on the ridge taking pictures.
The first 2/3 of that, so the first mile is tough. That's where all the elevation is. That first mile is tough. The last half mile or so is not as bad. You kind of finish in strong, but that first mile is where all the elevation gain is, and that was probably my toughest stretch, where I was just stepping up, and then you get these steps that are like this, and I hit a point where I was like, I don't know if I can lift my leg that high anymore. They better not have any more of these. I don't know if I could get my leg that high anymore. This is getting brutal.
They had warned us, just keep telling yourself, 1 more step, put 1 foot in front of the other. But in my mind, I was thinking, you have to step up. So 1 more step, or 1 more set of switchbacks.
So but then we ended up making it. We made it at 4:30.
4:10 was when we came out.
So 4:10. So yeah, it was 4:10. So we actually made it up in like 5 hours and 40 minutes, and we made it down in 3.5. So we're even ahead of that. They say twice as long going down, and we were even ahead of that pace. And I think the last one took us around an hour, I think is what it came out to. The last mile and a half was about an hour again. So we did pretty good at that. Stayed ahead of average person pace. Our goal going in, from what we researched, was to do it in 11 to 14 hours. We did it 10 hours, 40 minutes total, and that includes our half hour we were at Phantom Ranch.
And me crying on the trail.
So we were very happy with ourselves. We just turned 41.
Had a baby.
Just less than a
this
year ago. And we're not in shape by all means. We do run some 5Ks, but I haven't ran since the end of June. Hadn't done anything until we decided to do this trip 5 weeks before we came. So that's when we decided to start working out again. So we're not in shape by any means. But it's tough, but it's doable as long as you catch the right weather. I definitely wouldn't want to do it in the middle of summer because the times we were in the sun, it was brutal.
Hot.
Just take your snacks, your water, and everything. Just keep smart. If you start, it gets tough, just stop, take a break.
They say if you start feeling nauseated or dizzy, just find a rock, sit down, drink, and eat, and rest a minute.
Yeah, just stop, take a break. The canyon will still be there when you go back to hike. Continue your hike. It will still be there. So then we finished at the Bright Angel, and we went to the Bright Angel Lodge, and in the little tavern inside, we had a burger inside. And
it was difficult to eat, I'll give you that.
Yeah, it was tough to eat that because we went right in there. We had took spare shirts along, just changed our shirts, and it was difficult to eat. The next morning, like I said, going up, my left knee was really bothering me. I was kind of having to take steps differently. Then when we woke up this morning, my knee was killing me.
And we had went in the hot tub the night before.
We did a walk. We went to go try and see the sunrise there this morning at the canyon, but it was too cloudy. So then my knee was absolutely killing me. But then we came back in the hot tub this morning, and that did the trick. There's a jet that I put right on it for like 10 minutes, and now the rest of the day I've been fine. So it helped, but it is doable. You will survive.
Not recommended, but
it's the day after. It's the day after, and we feel pretty good. I feel better than I thought I would. Yeah, they don't recommend doing the down and up, so we can't recommend it, but it's doable. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed our video. We hope we were able to provide you some resources. I don't think we forgot anything, but I don't post a lot of videos, so this isn't going to have some fancy, production value to it. But if you have any questions or anything, you can just put a comment down below, and I'll check it. But other than that, we hope you have fun at your visit to the Grand Canyon.
Take lots of pictures.